Hello, this is Arthur Nix with WKS, and I'm a HeavyBid contract trainer. And this video is about developing an emergency plan in case your server is down and you need to submit a bid with a deadline. Now, I'm assuming this would be for a customer that does public bidding, such as DOT bidding or county, city, whatever. There's hard deadlines involved. So if something happens to the server as you approach that time where you have to submit a bid, then you need to have that backup or that emergency plan in place so that you know the steps that you need to do to get the backup restored to a standalone HeavyBid and be able to submit your bid on time. So these are pretty crucial steps. HCSS has done a great job in giving you the tools, but then you need to develop the plan. Now, you might ask, well, isn't that the IT's job, IT department's job? And the answer is no, it's not. They will have a backup, but they might have difficulty getting that backup in the time frame that you need them. You need that backup restored. So, this is really the job of the estimating department to have this type of a backup and this type of emergency plan in place. So this video is going to show you the steps on how to set up HeavyBid so that you have those type of backups, and then discuss how you will be able to set up a standalone HeavyBid. The first thing that you're going to want to do to set up this emergency plan is to have a install of HeavyBid ready to go. Now, you don't want to pre-install it, but you want to have it ready to install on the day that you have this emergency. And then you're going to call HCSS and get the install code so that you can install this standalone. So where do I get that? Well, I would go to HCSSapps.com, and this will be applicable to you. Everybody has an administrator and I think you have to be an admin to actually download the software. But all users of HeavyBid, all customers have an admin or multiple admins that will be able to download the software. Now, HCSSapps.com is a holding area for all these, other locations of applications like HCSS plans, if you have that, or also Heavy Job, the Academy. But what I want to go to is the community. So I go to the community. It opens it up for my user. There we go. And then I'm going to go to my software. Right, I'm going to go down to HeavyBid, and I'm going to download the latest. Well, I guess you would download the version that you are currently using. So we go all the way back right now to 218.1.1. You really shouldn't be using anything older than that anyway. So just download what you currently have on your server to make sure that they're compatible. All right, and once you've done that, you got that stored away, you know where that is. Then you're going to go into HeavyBid, and you got some settings to do. So here I am in HeavyBid, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Tools, Preferences, System, and I'm going to come down to Automated Backup and Backup by Action. I'm going to make sure that this is 30 days or 60 days or whatever you want. HeavyBid comes as a default with 3 days, which that means after a long weekend, then you basically don't have any automated backups. So you want to set this much longer than the default 3 days. I suggest 30 days. And also, this is the location of the automatic backup. All right, so another thing that I suggest doing is maybe having 2 folders set up on your local drive And I do recommend that you do set this to be the local drive. This should not be the server, because that's what's going to be down, and you're not going to be able to access it. So, these files are backups. They're not the active data. So, it really shouldn't be a problem with putting these on some kind of a local drive. So what I suggest is to have 2 folders, one for the automatic and then one for the manual backups, so that you differentiate the two. So I've set up 2 folders, and I'm going to go ahead, and this is under HB Save. I'm going to go ahead and select the automatic backup, so that's what this is. I'm going to make sure that this is checked, so that way every time you at least exit HeavyBid, you get 1 backup. So that just ensures at nighttime, every night there's a backup made, because you're exiting HeavyBid. You're not leaving it open, and that's the best practice. Now, the second setting that I want to do is under folder defaults. Now, you notice this is user preferences, and this is the default backup folder. So this could also, this could be maybe a USB drive. In this case, this is my manual backup. So I'm going to go here, manual backup. If it's a USB drive, I would find that location, and now it's set. Different users can have different paths, but normally this would be a local drive, never a server drive, because that is what you're planning planning against in case of emergency. So I've got those 2 settings. Let's go test those. First of all, I come in here to my manual backup. I'll go ahead, and usually what I do is I put, for my backups, I'll put in, a date, and like that. I don't have to be, a year, because probably not. And then probably what I'll do is I'll put in a time, just so it timestamps that in the description. I also will have that in the date on the file, but it does make this specific too, because if I don't have this portion of it, I will be continually overriding my manual backups, and I might not want to do that. So I finish that, test my manual backup first. I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to click on the backup icon right here, or I can go File, Backup. Either one, I'm going to click that there. And what I usually do is I put a date and a timestamp. So I'll put in something like, 8-21 and 10:50 a.m. So it makes that specific. Otherwise, if I don't have that, it's going to just overwrite my previous backup. And if I'm making these on bid day, or maybe a couple of days before that, I want to have these back up incrementally. So I go to finish, and then it will go and back those up. Now, let's test the automatic backup now. So I come up here to edit, and most time when I select any of these, it will give me the opportunity to back it up with the automatic backup, or it just does it. So I know that the change bid item data will go ahead and do that. And let's go ahead and select, let's go ahead and see if those 2 backups were done. So I come down here to my C drive, and I come here to HeavyBid. Okay, there's my automatic backup. There's the one. You can see that it tells me why it made this backup. I entered into the change bid data, mass change. And now, remember this, I have this set to save for 30 days. And the other one would be, in HP, would be the manual backup. And there's the manual. Remember, in a manual backup, there's going to be 2 files. And I have it specifically titled so that these will not overwrite the next time I make a backup. So it's just best practice to make sure and check on that these files are being stored in the right location. And periodically, I would come in and check that, specifically on the manual backups, as those are user preferences, and they'll be stored under the Tools Preferences User, and make sure they're correctly set up. And these pass can change over time depending on where you want these set up. The last thing I'd recommend is to develop a document where you would have the plan in place. It's something that you could grab when the emergency occurs, and it will lead you through the steps. So I have a sample one right here. You notice it's something that I will have on my blog. You know, you have a HCSS HeavyBid emergency plan, kind of tells you, you know, the steps to have the HeavyBid installed, downloaded. And then when you do have the emergency, it leads you through the steps so that you can get these in place and get your estimate up and going quickly without losing much time. And then you want to have documented the file locations, the HeavyBid install that you've already downloaded, and then any kind of a DOT AstroWare, you know, which computer does it reside on. I'm assuming that you already have that downloaded and installed in the proper computer, so that it, you know, this would be one that is not dependent on the server. So, like I said at the beginning, you want to prepare for emergency before the emergency occurs, and HeavyBid has done a great job, or HCSS has, in setting up the steps so that you can ensure that you have the, you know, the most current backup available, so that you can get back up and running and submit that bid on time. If you enjoyed this video, you can find more resources on my website, ewksol.com. You have a link to my blog, which has, you know, a lot of information that I post regularly on HeavyBid. You got my contact where you can fill in, and I can get back with you on specific questions that you have. And then I have the services that we offer for HeavyBid. So I appreciate you watching this video, and I hope that you develop an emergency plan for your HeavyBid.